Well, hey everybody, and welcome back to the Lakeside Laboratory, the Ratchet's Den video mailbag where we answer Ratchet and Clank and Legend of Zelda questions. Sorry it's been so long since I've seen you guys. It's actually been quite a while. It's been, I think, over a month. So sorry about that. Life has been pretty crazy recently. I'm also not helped by the fact that I've been procrastinating playing League of Legends and stuff like that. But I'm back, and I should be doing this once a week again, like I did originally with my first two videos. So don't worry about me disappearing anytime soon. I should be doing this once a week from now on for the foreseeable future. So yeah. Also, since I haven't done this in such a long time, today's mailbag is going to be a little bit quite a bit longer than usual, since I have a considerable amount of questions, and a lot of these questions come from the same person. They ask quite a few questions, and since I haven't answered those questions, and it's been such a long time, I'm going to answer all those questions today, and then I'm going to have a completely new slate, or I have some newer questions, but I'm going to go ahead and answer these ones, and then I will answer the newer questions in the next mailbag. So let's go ahead and get started. So our first question comes from Howard, who asks, do you think we'll see a recurrent or completely new villain in A Link Between Worlds? What do you hope for? Well, this question is sort of out of date, because I'm pretty sure we have seen the villain in A Link Between Worlds. It's like some sort of jester type creature, I think I heard. I also heard about some dark figure. So, we haven't had a set confirmed villain, but we have seen some things that look like the villain, as far as I know. And I may not know very well, but that's what I know. So I'll double check that, and if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But personally, I was hoping for a villain. Well, I was hoping for one of two things. I was hoping for either Demise, because I wrote an article that you guys may have read about the Dark Triforce and what it could mean, how they could connect it to previous Zelda games. And I brought up the idea of Demise's sword with the upside down, the inverted Triforce, pretty much. And I was like, they could connect that to Demise and have it be connected to the Dark Triforce. And I was like, that could be good. I think that'd be cool to see. I think it would be cool to see Demise return. It's rather soon, I guess, maybe for some people, but I think it would be a neat way to connect the Dark Triforce to the rest of the Zelda series, rather than have all of a sudden, boom, all this new stuff to the series that we haven't ever seen before, which is odd to me. But yeah. The other thing I would like to see is a new villain who we haven't seen before, who we see only just this once, who has a decent backstory, decent character development, and rather than being the epitome of all evil, it has more in the gray area, I guess, because I like to see a villain who isn't necessarily the be-all and end-all evil dude who just is going to destroy everything to rule the world and blah, 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 blah. That we've seen so many times before. I'd like to see a character that, is original. Anti-Ginger asks, Zelda 2 versus Zelda 1 and why? I'd go with Zelda 1 because I haven't played a whole lot of Zelda 2. I got 5 dungeons into the original, and I liked it, but, I haven't played enough of Zelda 2 to really have an opinion on it. And that's sort of true of a lot of Zelda games. But I've been playing more, and so I've been meaning to get onto Zelda 2 and beat it, hopefully, even though it's a really, really hard game. But, Zelda 1 because I played more of it, and I enjoyed what I played. It was a difficult game at first, but as I continued to get through more of the game, it got easier as it went along, because as you get more health, it sort of gets easier. So, Zelda 1. Geo asks, what's your favorite Legend of Zelda song? Legend of Zelda song, I would choose the Lanayru Harbor from Skyward Sword, not because it's really, a really awesome, catchy song. It really isn't. It's more of a slow, melancholy song. It has an air of emptiness about it, which the reason I like it so much is because it matches its area so perfectly. And so I would consider it the best song in the Zelda series, as well as my favorite, for that reason, is that it brings out the emotions felt in the area so perfectly that I was just like, oh my gosh, I love this song. So I go with that. Cheese to the Great asks, in your humble opinion, what is it exactly that makes a good Zelda game? Now, this question is rather big, so I'm going to try and go through it quickly, but do a good job because, I don't want to make you guys sit here and listen to me ramble like I am right now. So, I think the two biggest things that go into it are the story and the gameplay. And that's a broad subject, but the gameplay just needs to be entertaining. It needs to keep you interested because, you're not going to want to play a game that doesn't have, gameplay that you've been playing for the last, forever, because it's the same thing you've been playing for a long time, and nobody likes to go through a new game and have everything in it be exactly the same that it was in the last game. Most people don't. So that's something in Zelda. It's good to have old elements return and stuff, but I think that it needs to be new and it needs to differ from its last game. And so it needs to innovate. With the story, it needs to be interesting. I like an air of mystery, an air of suspense, or like an air of, okay, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? I need to get to this so I can get this next piece in the story. That's something that in Zelda they do a fairly good job of. The way they go about it, sort of sometimes isn't the best. Going from place to place to place, I think they could work to make it a bit more seamless. So you aren't like just constantly doing fetch quests and stuff, which I guess goes back into the gameplay thing. So if they could work that, then that'd be great. But yeah, the story needs to be, it needs to keep you on the edge of your seat, I think. Next would be music and art style, graphics, and the world and the characters. Now these are four things that I'd say all rank up there together. And so the music, like I was saying for this, my favorite song, it needs to bring out the emotions that are felt in its area. That goes into the world thing as well. The world, I like a world that is deep, like there's lots of depth to it. So Majora's Mask and Skyward Sword are two great examples to me of a deep a Zelda game with a lot of depth. And then I like big. So Twilight Princess overworld is big, and I liked that. So a combination of the two would be preferable. And then the characters need to be funny. They need to have differing personalities. They need personalities. They need some story, some character development. So, in my opinion, that's pretty much what makes a Zelda game good. And his next question is, what do you want most from Zelda Wii U? I like to see a, like I was talking about with the boss in the my first question. I like to see a boss who's in more of the gray area, a final, like the villain, to be in more of the gray area than we've seen. And also, I like the idea of optional dungeons. This is an idea I had that I'm sure a lot of other people had as well. Basically, you'd have dungeons that you'd go and you could do. You wouldn't be required to do them, but they would add, they would give you, like, extra items. Maybe, some new items we haven't seen before, and that you wouldn't necessarily have to win the game, but they would open new ways to fight bosses, and would sort of do away with the, you have to get this item in before you can go and beat the boss type thing. So that's what I'd like to see. It would add a lot of replay value and a lot of, I think it would make a lot of people happy. So that's what I would like to see. And not many dungeons either. I'd like them to be full-fledged dungeons with bosses and everything. So his third question is, will you be buying A Link Between Worlds? My answer to that is probably. I don't have a 3DS. I am planning on getting one. But you know, it's a work in progress. I'll get there eventually. I hope to buy a Link Between Worlds, but it's not set in stone. It's my intention to. Originally, I wasn't going to, but now that I've heard more about the game, I've become pretty interested. So I think I will be. What is, in your opinion, the best side quest in the series? You know, I'd have to go with the Andrew and Cafe side quest, which is sort of a cop-out answer, I think, because it encompasses basically every single side quest in that game, and I haven't even beaten it or gone through the entire side quest, so you may be able to say, hey, you can't really choose that one, but I know that, you know, I've seen it. I have seen what it entails, and like I've watched walkthroughs, not really for Majora's Mask, but I've seen enough of it to know that, hey, this is a pretty good side quest, and I've played enough of it to know this is a pretty good side quest. So I'd go with that one personally. And our final question from Teaster the Great is, what do you think of alternate worlds in the Zelda series? I'm gonna go with I like them because, you know, Termina, I think was a refreshing change from Hyrule. Take an example of an alternate world. In Ocarina of Time, Hyrule was a very generic, very, you know, we've seen that type of Hyrule a lot in the Zelda series. Twilight Princess is a lot like Ocarina of Time's Hyrule. So it's sort of generic. Termina really differed from what Ocarina of Time was. It was more zany, it was more side quest based, so there was a lot more in it, making it sort of feel like a Skyward Sword's overworld. So, you know, I liked Termina, and this Dark World and A Link Between Worlds looks like it could be a pretty big deal. It seems like it's going to be a lot of the game will be played in the Dark World, and we should be seeing some pretty interesting things from it. So I'm a fan of the alternate worlds. I'm excited for the Dark World and Link Between Worlds. I don't really know what we're going to get, but I'm hoping for something big. And our next question comes from Clank, our administrator, so thumbs up for that. What food item from Zelda would you like to try? I'm going to go with the Yeti soup from Twilight Princess because it restores 8 hearts, and so that's some pretty neat soup. If you could give me that much energy back, I'd be down for that. So, you know. Raindrop 14 asks, now there have been some modern twists in the Zelda games with the music. What would you say to an entire Zelda game with modernized music? That is to say, not very classical music. I would say I'm not a big fan of that because I really like the classical music, and I sort of answered like this in your last question where you were asking about the steampunk Zelda. I'm not a big fan of modern in Zelda. I like the Zelda games to be, you know, just medieval, classical type fantasy games. And that's what Zelda's always been, and that's what I've always looked at to it as. It's a refreshing getaway to me, and I like Zelda to not go into the modern. And so with the music, I feel like if the music goes modern, then Zelda will have to go modern with the music. So, you know, I personally haven't really seen what you're saying with the modern twist in the music that we have seen currently. Then again, I haven't played every single Zelda game, so I may have missed them. So if you could link me to some of those songs, I'd be really jazzed about that, because you know, maybe I'd have a different opinion if I heard it. I was like, oh well, maybe this is actually something that we could see in Zelda and it could work. Who knows? So if you could in the comments, that'd be great. Okay, and our last question comes from Gage, and I considered not answering this question since we have this question so many times. Questions like this so many times. I guess twice because I've had 2 mailbags. So the question is Midna, Fi, or Navi, and why? And so, you know, I'm gonna go with Navi. You guys probably have figured this out by now that I personally really like Navi. I don't find her annoying in the least bit. There was actually a pretty funny the thing I really liked about Navi was one time I was playing Ocarina of Time, and I stopped playing. And this was before I had ready access to the internet, so I was pretty young. And I got back to the game, and I had no idea what I was doing. It was my first playthrough, so it wasn't like, you know, I had the game memorized like I do now. So I was like, okay, I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. Well, Navi was like, hey, and for once, I actually listened, and I was like, oh, so that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And I got back on track and went on to beat the game on that playthrough. So I was pretty jazzed about that, and I've never really had a complaint about Navi ever since. Meanwhile, Midna and Fi both annoyed me for different reasons. Fi is annoying, and Midna is a sassy brat. So I didn't really care for either of them. Admittedly, I did end up liking them both late in the game, in their respective games. And so, you know, I don't hate Midna and Fi, but I do prefer Navi to them. Anyway, thanks so much, guys, for watching. That's all the questions we have for you today. Sorry about this being such a long video. The next one should be a lot shorter and should have probably about 9 questions, since that's usually what I do, as opposed to 12 or 13 like I did in this video. If you have questions, let me know in the comments. I'd love to have your questions. I need questions, and I'm always looking for them. So, I mean, if you guys can message me on Zelda Dungeon, the Zelda Dungeon forums, and Ratchet's Den forums. So, you know, I'm online. So if you ever have a question, and you just post them in the link or send me a message, and or put them in whichever mailbag that they will be going in, probably the next mailbag. So, you know, yeah. But anyway, be sure to like this video if you enjoyed watching it, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And this is Beast 97, aka Burning Beast, signing out.